right, I had to take a big sigh there. Do you ever get this feeling of just how inept? You just get so aggravated about how inept the government is at everything they do. Just how terrible they are at everything. How terrible the military is at everything, the government is at everything, and how terrible they are. And yet they will get people to destroy their entire families trying to support one party or the other. They will have people so caught up in supporting their political candidate that there are people right now that will never speak to their family members probably again, because one side supports Kamala Harris and the other side supports Donald Trump. Think about how insane that is. We, in America especially, we will fight each other tooth and nail to defend people who are terrible at everything that they do. Donald Trump did not do most of the things he said he was going to do last time. And listen, I know the excuses a lot of times. It's, oh, he didn't have the right people. He listened to people that he shouldn't have, what have you. Okay, I understand the arguments. The entire deep state was against him. The military was, it was awful. I understand. But, so you have that on one side, and he's running again. And on the other side, you have a continuation of the current presidential administration, which has been a complete train wreck. And, Trump is not running a good campaign. The campaign that Trump ran in 2016 that that excited so many people in this populist movement, that campaign is no longer Trump's campaign. He's no longer going after the deep state. He's no longer going after the swamp. He's no longer talking like that. He's just kind of ambling along, bragging about how great he was and how he got screwed in 2020. And it's just, quite frankly, it's a little infuriating, because what we need is a candidate who is going to come in and fix the problems. And the problem is the government, the way it currently is. It's terrible. And I'm sitting here and just looking at, right now, there is basically a militant Venezuelan gang invading the United States. They're taking over liberal cities and stuff, so I'm sure those people voted for it, but what have you, those are still American cities. And on top of that, the jobs report comes in, and it's terrible. Of course, it's less, it's far below what it should be. We're trying to be told the economy is way better than it is, and it's just all relative to the fact that we're stupid and they're not. We should just be able to see this. That's the way they treat us. So you have that. It's just everything. They're terrible at everything. You can't even afford groceries right now. You can barely afford gas. There are no real new jobs. It's just depressing. And we're going to sit here and we're going to kill each other. We're going to fight, not kill each other literally, but what I'm saying, figuratively, we're going to fight each other. We're going to divide our families. We're going to destroy relationships in the name of politics for two parties that are not going to really do anything to fix a dang thing. We're so obsessed and wrapped up in this stuff. And we feel like it's a great existential threat for both sides to such a degree that you spend time with, if you're a Trump supporter, you spend time with a Harris supporter, you assume there's somebody that wants horrible things. They feel the same about Trump supporters. So it just pisses me off, quite frankly. These people are not worth it. They're not worth this level of our energy. And yet people will continue to do this. And it's easy to get caught up in it. Listen, I think the Democratic Party is one of the most destructive forces in United States history, especially this party of the last several years. But the Republican Party is doing nothing to stop it. And, Trump is the only figure in the Republican Party. He is the entire movement is this one guy versus the entire government apparatus, the deep state, the military industrial complex, the everything you can think of, the entertainment industry, Hollywood, sports. So you look at this and it's like they are, you know, the Republican Party is a joke, as it always has been. The Republican Party has been like was taken over completely by people that destroyed the whole thing. And during the Bush presidency, they ruined whatever semblance of conservatism existed in the United States when the neoconservatives took over his administration. And you have the Democratic Party will do anything on earth to counter every single thing the Republican Party is going to do or Trump is going to do, all in the name of just being partisan. They have to. You can say anything you want. You can be it. You can have any policy you want as a Republican, and it will not matter. They will always run counter to that. And it's like these people are terrible at everything. And the Democrats, they just want. They're so bad at running everything. It's like they must just want to destroy this country. And I don't know how to feel about that. You know, I often wonder: are they this evil and calculated and good at destroying the country? Or are they this inept? I don't know how to feel anymore. But when I look at this and I see these stories about Venezuelan gangs invading different parts of this country, and you know what's going to happen? This is going to be a failure of immigration policy, and it's going to get blamed on, you guessed it, it's going to get blamed on Donald Trump. Because they had a bipartisan border bill that everybody agreed upon, and he shut it down because it not politically, it did not benefit him politically to do so, to do otherwise. Like, this is the problem. We don't want your damn excuses anymore. We want people to do something about it. This has got to end. It has to end. I'm a libertarian, okay? I'm a Austrian, I'm a Mises libertarian, so I consider myself. Because I think both of our main parties are completely inept. Mind you, I used to be more conservative. I used to consider myself more of a Republican until I saw how completely useless they were and how they were basically just the uniparty. They were all on board with a lot of the same policies. And I said, you know what? I don't want to do this. So I remember in the last election in 2020, when I saw how useless the Republicans were that got elected, I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't support this anymore. It's a joke. They're worthless. They're terrible. They're actively destroying this country. They stand for nothing that they should stand for, that they claim to stand for. They are only there to get your votes and blow our money. And people said, no, come on, just stay the course. Have faith. Have faith. It'll fix itself. It'll right itself. Just why? Why? This is the thing where people will always say, well, if you vote for a third party, you're throwing your vote away. You're just basically taking a vote away from Trump or taking a vote away from Harris. It's like, okay, and they're not going to do anything with it. I'm just tired. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a downer on this. I'm just exhausted right now with this has been a long 2024 already. And I'm tired of watching the government be terrible at everything that they do. And somehow they get to continue just being terrible at everything they do. And we just have to sit back and go, okay, well, I guess we just have to vote for whoever we think is a slightly less terrible candidate. It's just depressing to have to feel this way. But, you know, I genuinely think this is like, when it comes to this upcoming election, if Kamala Harris gets elected, I feel like it will be a catastrophe for this country. reasons I feel that way is because I think it will be a continuation of the Biden administration. Now, listen, I know that they have some change-ups in their own policies and whatever. To me, I don't buy it, for one, and I don't really care that they have their own policies, because they're going to be terrible at what they do. And if we get a continuation of this just horrifically inept Biden administration, I don't even know how we could survive it. And what I mean by that, I'm not even talking about like the cultural stuff. I'm not talking about like, you know, authoritarianism or anything. No, I'm talking about just from an economic standpoint and from a military standpoint and from, you know, just how weak we would look as a nation. It's just overall, I can't do it. I can't imagine how we economically survive another chunk of the Biden administration that's currently in office. Because Biden, man, what a joke this administration is. What a complete joke. And she is the administration. She's second in command. They will not connect her to this administration, hardly at all. We'll hear about how legendary of a president Biden was, how accomplished she is, one of the greatest ever. But yet they're trying to disconnect her from it. Well, it's just because the people don't realize how great he is. The people don't realize how great the economy is. The people don't realize how awesome Joe Biden is, and they need to be more grateful. But since they're not, we have to just separate her from him, because the people that are too stupid to realize how great he is are going to cast her in a negative light because of that. But don't worry, someday when they're smart, they'll realize. It's like that's the mentality. There's nothing factual to point you in the direction that this administration has been a success in any way, and she is going to continue this because he's not running anything, just like she won't run anything. So it's the same people pulling the strings that are continue to do this stuff down the road. Where is Joe Biden? He is president of the United States still. Did you know that? Like, the guy is still the head honcho in the Oval Office. Who cares, though? We don't care about Joe Biden anymore. He's you know, whatever. Like, I saw a picture of him the other day, and he was signing something. And it was like he was sitting behind... Where was it? A picture of it. He was sitting behind this like teeny tiny desk. Where is that? You know what? I'll check on X. Sorry, I've been suffering from some inner ear issues for about a month now. I get really dizzy sometimes. For some reason, doing this like sometimes makes me really dizzy, but I want to do it because I enjoy doing it. So I'm not trying to be like a downer or something. I just sometimes get dizzy. So here, this is a weird, I wanted to show this to you. This is a weird like image to me.
Folks,
what is happening here? Look at how terrible he looks.
we're ready.
All right, we're going in 5, 4, 3, 2.
He looks like he's wearing a mask. What is this?
Folks,
this is clearly a soundstage. Look at this behind here. Look at this desk.
folks,
What is happening? They just bring this guy in and have him sit behind his toy desk. Have him sit behind his toy desk so he can feel special? Why would you make that desk? Why would you need a desk that small? Unless it somehow, like, excuse me, helps him spatially or something because of his cognitive decline. I don't understand. What is that desk? Was that like a Temu special? Shop like a billionaire, you can buy this presidential desk that's big enough for a doll. What if, like, that guy is not running anything? And we are going to continue to do this. Listen, there's a very good chance Trump blows Kamala Harris out of the water when it comes to the election. Like, people are saying it could be such a historic win for him that it will even whatever shenanigans they might try, it wouldn't matter, right? But let's say it does. The shenanigans do matter. Like, we have to keep doing this. We have to keep playing this game. Like, I'm so freaking fed up with it. You know, I'm watching the Packers-Eagles game right now. It's been a good game, 26-24 right now. Packers are winning. It's in Brazil, I think. I'm so happy football's on. I needed it so bad. I needed the distraction. I'm a historian, a writer, podcaster, content creator, etc. I am writing a couple of books right now. Writing my books is always my nice getaway. But, you know, football, I have like a very obsessive personality with numerous things. It's like I obsess about history, I obsess about books, I obsess about the news and politics, I obsess about football, I obsess about hunting. Like, I have so many different things. So football is an obsession of mine, but it's like this nice, it's a very nice escape right now. It's like, oh, thank God football's on. We needed the break. But then, of course, every freaking time I'm watching it or listening to like football talk radio, it's like, oh, here's an ad. Here's a political ad. Guess what every Kamala Harris political ad is about? Trump's Project 2025. Trump's Project 2025. Oh, we have to keep doing this. We have to keep doing this for 2 more months. And imagine what November will be like. I can't do it. Like, I'm just like, I can't picture the future anymore. I have a hard time doing it. But let's say like she does pull this off. You know, could you imagine what that will be like? What 4 years of her will be like? Ooh, I sure can't. So, I was talking the other day, you know, Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, he's a billionaire. He's become this Kamala Harris, you know, apologist on X. You know, Mark Cuban hates Elon Musk. Like, with every, you know, he just spends half his day obsessing about Elon Musk. And he's constantly on here now tweeting about well, Elon Musk, but also tweeting about Kamala Harris and how great she is. And like, he does this thing all the time where he'll go around and he'll like talk about her potential here we go. Like, this is funny to me. So here we go. Like, this is his account. Okay, this is a clip of Donald Trump talking about the economy or something. From Kamala HQ. He's always sharing clips from Kamala HQ, which are completely cut up.
If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. You know, I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that, because look, childcare is childcare. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have.
He's talking about
I
tariffs.
look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time.
I don't
Coupled
think
with,
tariffs are a good
the
idea,
reductions
but
that I told you about on waste
I
and
think
fraud
taxes are
and all of
stupid.
the other things that are going on in our country. Because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to be taking in trillions of dollars, and as much as childcare is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people.
I don't know.
But
I mean, it sounds like he's being coherent to me. This says here that MSN doesn't want to address the fact that all of his answers today were gibberish. It's like, do these they think that the media is on Trump's side. I've seen this a lot from people on the left. They'll always be like, why isn't the media bringing this up? It's like, that's all they talk about is him. Like, 95% of their stuff is all about him. None of it's positive. And how was that gibberish? It sounded pretty coherent to me. I don't really agree with tariffs, but he's saying that we're going to be raking in so much money when it comes to taxes on foreign nations through tariffs that it'll be a small sum to pay for childcare because we'll be having so much money, right? That's his argument there. I mean, it seemed coherent to me. It seems stupid, but it's coherent. So, I don't know what Mark Cuban's on about, but of course he's like one of these people that's just like, he's always after Trump, and then he's always on about how great Cuba is, or Kamala Harris is, because he's Mark Cuban. Kamala Harris is. I'm trying to find. So he was going on the other day. Yesterday or 2 days ago. I was talking about the GDP thing, and okay, here we go. Kamala Harris is listening to business people and getting their feedback on what's fair and what will lead to more investment in business. She's pro-business, more supportive of entrepreneurs than any candidate in a long time. It's only going to get better. Vice President Kamala Harris has proposed a 28% tax on long-term capital gains for any household with an annual income of $1 million or more, lower than the almost 40% rate that Joe Biden laid out in his 2025 fiscal year budget per CNBC. Oh, Kamala Harris is pro-business. Yeah, she is. She's pro-big business. She's pro-corporations, because the Democrats always are. They've made this campaign, they're targeting the middle class. And I feel like that the Kamala Harris, like, the Democrats in general, have consistently made the middle class their this group they've basically been left behind. And we need to fix things so the middle class can flourish in this country. Well, they haven't done that yet. They haven't done that in forever. What even is a middle class anymore? Does the middle class even really exist? I don't know. I mean, it's this like almost like this utopian concept of like, we're going to have this great middle class. What the middle class will do is middle class will buy houses and they'll raise their kids in the suburbs and they'll have a golden retriever and they'll pay a mortgage forever and we'll be able to make money off subsidized mortgages, things like that. And it's like that dream seems pretty far-fetched to me. And there's nothing they're doing that seems to be beneficial to the quote-unquote middle class. And being pro-business by taxing people that make a ton of money on capital gains, that's not pro-business. That's actually the complete opposite of pro-business. Taxing wealthy business owners is not pro-business. No matter what you do with that money. They just don't understand how economics works. You can't just tax the crap out of these people and not have repercussions. Because what do rich people do with money? Rich people put their money to work for them. That's a thing that's always been kind of known about how the wealthy work. They save their money, they invest their money in long-term production and long-term investment opportunities and so forth. And that's what they do with their money. And sorry, I gotta sit back here. So that's what you're going to do, is you're going to take that money away from them and do what with it? Well, you're gonna steal their money on capital gains even, and you're gonna piss it away on nothing, because that's what the government does with our money. They piss it away on nothing. They're actually really good at it. That's one of the few things they're good at, is blowing money and getting nothing in return for it. Where if you're going to steal money from the wealthy and just... And what are they going to do? If I'm going to open factories in the United States to give Americans jobs, and then a president comes in and says, all right, well, any money you're going to make off this, we get to steal 30% of it or whatever. Okay, well, screw that then. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'll go take my business abroad where I don't have to pay taxes on this stuff. I won't invest in factories. I won't invest in jobs. The labor will be cheaper overseas. And it's like, you're going to eventually get no return on taxing these billionaires and stuff. It's not a viable economic tool, people. I remember when Bernie Sanders was running and I was managing pet stores, and I would have conversations with young people all the time who were all aboard the Bernie train. I mean, I'm sure you remember those days. And I remember this kid telling me, well, the way that he's going to fund the economy is through, he's going to tax billionaires. And I was like, dude, okay, let's say they go in and they steal 100% of the money of the billionaires in America. How much money, how long would that money run the United States government? It wouldn't. I mean, it would maybe like a year, half a year, and then you'd have no billionaires to tax. This idea that taxing the billionaires is an economic solution to helping the middle class is a joke. The idea that it's pro-business is a joke. And I just don't want to hear like, oh, she's meeting with business owners and getting their ideas, and she's going to get it to get, like, these people don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to do anything. They don't know how to fix anything. They're not the answer to anything. Jordan Love just threw a bad interception. Wow, he like threw it into double coverage. That was dumb. So, they're not capable of doing anything. It's just, I don't know. How do people keep falling for this? Mark Cuban, like, there was this thing, I remember, so a few weeks ago, I'm sure you heard the story, but Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, his wife, sorry, I'm laying back like this, it's like the only way that makes me feel like I'm not spinning. His wife, liked an Instagram post by Trump or something. And of course, people blew up about it. And she doubled down on it, was like, screw you. Okay, I can do what I want. Like, you guys are just divisive. I don't want to deal with you. And people were saying, like, well, of course she's going to vote for him. They're rich and they just want to protect their money. It's like, and why is it a crime to be rich? Why is it a crime to to work your butt off to get to the National Football League and become the best quarterback in the entire football league, bringing in probably billions of dollars for the league, helping bring in billions, and you get paid for it, and you don't want the government to take that money away from you and blow it all. That makes you a selfish douche. I wouldn't vote for the candidate that's going to steal my money. What are they going to do with it? Besides for give it away to countries, not named the United States, and blow it on war and blow it on God knows what. What have you gotten out of the government spending of the last decade? What did you get out of the government spending from Obama and from Bush, from Obama, from Trump, from Biden? What have you gotten out of all that money spent? My life's just gotten more expensive. Groceries are unaffordable. Housing is unaffordable. We're still funding wars constantly. All that money spent has actually taken more lives than anything. More that's benefited people. Infrastructure is crumbling. There's just nothing you can tell me that's been beneficial about spending all this money. So why should I fault somebody like Patrick Mahomes for voting for... He doesn't even say he's going to vote for Trump, but I'm just saying, let's say this is theoretically going to happen. Why would I fault somebody for voting for him because he doesn't want the government to steal all his money and blow it away on stupid crap? Like, we demonize wealthy people in this country. And we're going to sit here and pretend like Kamala Harris is the party of pro-business and she's the party of to fix the economy and all this stuff. It's a pipe dream. It's been a pipe dream. So this is a story from CNBC. Mark Cuban says, Harris won't tax unrealized capital gains. It's not going to happen. Billionaire investor Mark Cuban insisted that Vice President Kamala Harris would not tax unrealized capital gains as president. She has already broken with Joe Biden on tax policy by proposing a smaller hike in the top capital gains rate. Harris is teasing out her policy plans in the days leading up to her first and possibly only debate with Republican nominee Donald Trump. Still going to tax you, though. Billionaire investor Mark Cuban on Thursday insisted that the Democratic nominee Kamala Harris would not tax unrealized gains as president. Every conversation I've had is that this is not going to happen, Cuban said on CNBC's Squawk Box. Cuban, who says he speaks with Harris' team frequently, of course he does, maintained to CNBC that she is not interested in taxing unrealized gains. I'm not going to speak for the vice president. She makes the final decision. Still, I'm talking to these folks 3-4 times a week, having back and forth conversations, and their verbatim words to me is, that's not where we want to go. We need to find an alternative source of revenue, Cuban said. Harris's aides have told him. And those alternative sources of revenue are meant to replace what the unearned income, the unrealized gains from the Biden plan would have implemented. Cuban is neither a Republican nor a Democrat yet. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say my ass. But he's one of more than 100 venture capitalists earlier this summer who endorsed Harris for president. Shocking. Cuban's remarks could signal another break on tax policy between Harris and Joe Biden, who dropped out of the presidential race in July and endorsed blah, 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 blah. Biden's fiscal 2025 budget plan proposes a 25% minimum income tax on Americans with wealth above $100 million, because it's such a crime to be wealthy. Unlike current law, Biden's budget would apply an annual tax on unrealized gains, the increased values of assets that have not been sold, for the richest Americans. Okay, of course, there's pushback. Harris, who took over the Democratic ticket less than 4 months before Election Day, has not explicitly ditched the plan to tax unrealized gains. In a speech on Wednesday, rolling out more of her economic policies, however, Harris said she supports a billionaire minimum tax. Sure, that's these people do. That's not going to solve anything, and people will eat that up. Harris said Cuban is starting from the Biden plan as a starting point. Of course she is, because now the Biden plan is the Democratic plan. Do you think Joe Biden sat down Do you think Joe Biden sat down and hashed out an economic plan? Did he do it from his tiny Lego desk? Because, like, what? What do you? Yep, he did that. No, it's the people pulling the strings that did that. It's the same people that are just making up some BS plan to get her elected. They'll just change it whenever they're in office. Okay, so of course they want a billionaire minimum tax because they're idiots. Okay, the Harris campaign did not immediately respond to CNBC's request for comment on Cuban's remarks. Harris, whose nascent campaign has sought to appeal to moderate voters, on Wednesday, veered away from Biden's budget's plan to raise capital gains tax from 39.6 to 39.6 from 23.8% for households making more than $1 million. Harris's plan would instead increase the top long-term capital gains rate to 28%. Oh wait, but I thought we were just told that there is no capital gains tax increase according to freaking Mark Cuban. What a dork, dude. Like, he's not a Republican nor a Democrat, but he talks to Harris's campaign like 17 times a week. What a joke. But here we go. Let's just continue to do this. Like, more than 100 venture capitalists have voted to support Kamala Harris, according to this article. Well, wasn't the whole thing with Trump is that he wants to help his billionaire friends get richer? Wasn't that the whole thing? Wasn't that why we needed to not vote for him? Because he just cares about the rich? It's just laughable, dude. Oh, they're so dumb. They're so awful. I don't want to hear anything that Mark Cuban has to say. At this point, it's just pathetic. It's just a sorry thing to watch. Somebody claim he's not one party or the other, and all he does is post pro-Kamala crap and then attack Trump on there. I'm not for either side, though. What a joke. Here's another exciting thing. Another exciting win by the Biden administration. Job openings fell more than expected in July, and another sign of labor market softening. Oh wow, I thought they did amazing though. This is from CNBC. Job openings slumped to their lowest level in 3.5 years in July. The Labor Department reported Wednesday, and another sign of slack in the labor market. The department's closely watched job openings and labor turnover survey showed that available positions fell from 7.6 million on the month. 7.67 million on the month, off 237,000 from June's downwardly revised number and the lowest level since January of 2021. Economists surveyed by Dow Jones have been looking for 8.1 million. With the decline, it brought the ratio of job openings per available worker down to less than 1.1, about half where it was from its peak of more than 2 to 1 in early 2022. The data likely provides further ammunition to the Federal Reserve officials, who are widely expected to begin lowering interest rates, here we go, when they meet for their next policy meeting on September 17th, 18th. Fed officials watch the JOLTS report closely as an indicator of labor market strength. The labor market is no longer cooling down its pre-pandemic temperature. It's dropped past it, said Nick Bunker, head of economic research at the Indeed Hiring Lab. Nobody, and certainly not policymakers at the Federal Reserve, should want the labor market to get any cooler at this point. While the job openings level declined, layoffs increased to 1.76 million, up 202,000 from June. Total separations jumped by 336,000, pushing the separations rate as a share of the labor force up to 3.4%. However, hires rose as well. Okay, so basically, we're getting the gist of this article. The jobs creation thing sucked. Even though we've heard for years now Biden bragging about how phenomenal of a job he's done by creating jobs, more than any president ever. And Trump had the lowest, he had the highest unemployment numbers since the Great Depression. Let's just erase out the part where, there was a pandemic and we shut down the country, and all the jobs that I created in my administration were just people going back to work. But let's just pretend like we created 16 million jobs. It's so dumb. I remember the first time hearing that, and I was like, he's seriously going with this. He's going to pretend like people going back to work finally is something jobs he created. And there are plenty of idiots out there that buy that. But, so what's going to happen here is, now, with the election coming up, out of sheer desperation, they're going to dick around with interest rates. The Federal Reserve will. And it's going to set us on another trip down this road where people are going to spend a bunch of money now because of these short-term interest rates are going to be low. They're going to piss a bunch of money away. And then eventually, when all the investments and stuff don't work out, nothing comes of it. And then they're going to start to go back down into another decline. But they're going to screw with interest rates anyways, because they need to signal the economy that it's time to spend for so Kamala Harris can get elected. Because even the Federal Reserve almost wholeheartedly does not want Trump to get elected. So let's see here. Anything else? So here's another wonderful aside. Biden-Harris economy funnels over 1 million foreign workers into U.S. jobs in 1 year as Americans fall out of workforce. President Joe Biden and VP Harris have funneled over 1 million foreign workers into the United States jobs, while native-born Americans continue to fall out of the workforce. The latest Bureau of Labor Statistics report for August reveals the extent to which Biden and Harris' mass immigration agenda significantly impacted the nation's labor market, tilting it in favor of newly arrived migrants released into the United States interior from the southern border. Over the last year, the period states about 1.24 million foreign workers have secured jobs, while during the same period, 1.32 million fewer native-born Americans now hold U.S. jobs. August jobs report shows more pain for native-born Americans who've lost more than 1.3 million jobs over the last year, while foreign-born workers have gained over 1.2 million jobs. The American worker has been left behind in this recovery. Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, economist E.J. Antoni writes. Of course he said that, because he's a Project 2025 guy. Since 2019, before the Chinese coronavirus pandemic shut down the United States economy, foreign workers have overwhelmingly won out in the workforce compared to native-born Americans. Employment among foreign-born workers has increased 4.4 million since pre-pandemic and is on trend, while jobs among native-born Americans have fallen 833K over the same time. Literally no progress in 5 years. So Trump blasted them about this. So does this surprise you? It does not surprise me at all. I've been hearing that, that a lot of these job numbers are just foreign workers. I've heard a lot of them are part-time jobs. A lot of them are government jobs. Obama did that. Obama would bolster his numbers with government jobs. And it's a nice trick to pull, I guess, if you really want to throw some numbers out there. Look at how great we're doing. We have all these government jobs. We'll just not tell people they're government jobs. We'll give them benefits, and the taxpayers will pay for these people, so that way I can win an election, or we can win the midterms. Oh, well, like I said, this is just vote for her, and you'll get more of the same. I don't know what Trump's going to do. I think Trump is running a really stupid campaign. I honestly don't really see what he's standing for in this campaign, aside for tariffs. He's obsessed with tariffs. Immigration, which is good. We need to curb back immigration. And, you know, he talked about ending the war in Ukraine. He's obviously all aboard funding Israel in perpetuity. Talking the other day on Mark Levin's show about how we used to not be able to criticize Israel and now we can. He would cancel the funding at universities for criticizing Israel, which it's like, dude, bad look, man. Just stop saying stupid stuff. That's just, we would like to have freedom of speech in this country. So let's just don't go down the road of, well, they're going to do it for their side, we can do it too for our side, because it's just, I don't want to deal with that. And you just look like, I don't know. Oh, it's like, this is the best we can come up with, everybody. This is what we got. We got tariffs, or we got taxing the billionaires. Why can't we just not tax anybody? Why can't we just let people make money, keep their money, stop spending government money, period? And then we just, like, if you want a middle class, that's how you do it. You let people make money, keep their money, invest their money on what they want to invest their money on. And that in turn will create more money. And that in turn will also give people more jobs, creating more wealthy people. There you go. Solve your economic problems. The government can't do that. They can't give up their ability to interfere in our lives and screw with the economy. What fun would that be? Why else would you do it? You want to know why more than 100 venture capitalists endorsed Kamala Harris? Well, who's got the paycheck, or who's got the checkbook? I'm sure they'll subsidize whatever crap they want built. You know, I'm sure a lot of it's at 100 venture capitalists too. What do most VCs in America invest in? Tech. Of course, they're going to support the Democrats. Big tech is all about supporting the Democrats. And I'm sure they really would love nothing more than to go back to completely censoring people. I saw, it was a couple days ago, I saw that Elon Musk was struggling with selling X as the platform going forward to entice advertisers. And when was it GARM, there was a big cabal of advertisers that were basically cutting out platforms like X and Rumble, etc., because they didn't want to allow, you know, their advertisers on platforms that peddled in hate speech, right? Because that's what they're saying. And then, of course, now that there was some antitrust suits, Musk threatened to sue GARM. GARM broke up. But it doesn't matter, because they're still, just because the organization broke up doesn't mean that they still can't collude in some way, right? Or do, you know, or just collectively decide behind his back, we're not going to invest in your platform. They're still going to do that for these other alternative platforms. And Musk is, with what's going on with Brazil, it's like a huge drop off. And it makes you wonder if, you know, like X is still I think it's the most popular app in the world. It's the most popular news app on the world. It needs to exist. It has to exist. It cannot go away, because we need to have at least one of the major platforms be a free speech platform. They would do everything in their power they could to get rid of it, or force a sale, or force something. You know, well, if we can bankrupt the company, he won't be able to maintain ownership. He will be forced to move elsewhere, and he'll be forced to sell it to somebody who will jump on board and start censoring people again. Like, I see people crying all the time about how much X sucks now because, wow, Jalen Hurts just threw a stupid pick. Holy crap. Sorry. Distraction. I'm playing my brother in fantasy, and he has Jalen Hurts, so. Ha ha ha. 2 picks tonight. 2 picks and a fumble. So, they're going to force they want to force this issue where Musk will have no alternative, probably, but to I can't maintain this. I'm gonna have to walk away. We can go back to censoring people. Do you remember, like, I was thinking about when Facebook first came out. I was in college, and you needed to have a college email address. I remember going to my freshman orientation, and they handed us our email address, and they said, "Oh, you guys can get Facebook now." And I was like, "What's Facebook?" I had MySpace at the time, and Facebook was like, you could post whatever you wanted on there. I mean, there were groups that people had, like, probably get you fired from your job if people knew you were part of these things. And then right around, like, when Trump got elected, a little bit after, is when Facebook started to turn really dumb. And it's interesting that Zuckerberg created Threads to be like a competitor to Twitter, but Threads, but he has Facebook already. Like, what? Isn't Facebook just like, Facebook is on microblogging, but it's like you just all these tech platforms are the same. They're not offering much of anything new, and they're all I mean, it's Threads. I think I have a Threads account because it was connected to an Instagram account I have, but it was like I don't think I've gone on there once. And they would love to get their hands on an app like X again. And X is very powerful. And regardless of whether or not advertisers stay on there, X will retain its power until it's no longer economically viable for the guy to run the thing. He's a genius. He's brilliant. I have a feeling that he'll figure it out. But it does freak me out a little bit at the thought of that going away. What are you going to do? Gab, Getter, Parler. What other ones are there? Gab, Getter, Parler, Minds, Truth Social. They'll never be what Twitter is or X. It freaks me out to think about what it would be like if we didn't have that free speech app. And they will do whatever it takes to get it back. So, what else? Foreign jobs. Uh-oh. Josh Jacobs is cruising. Man, this is a good game. I've kind of only been sporadically paying attention. I stayed up last night and watched the Chiefs-Ravens game and thought, wow, what a joke. Like, that game was, the reffing was terrible. Of course, tomorrow my Michigan Wolverines have to play freaking Texas. I'm not happy about this game. I have a feeling that Texas is not going to, I feel like Michigan's going to have a struggle here. But I promised myself this year, I'm going to try to be more of just a football fan and not just a Michigan fan. I got my national championship last year. I got my 3 Big Ten titles. Been a diehard Michigan fan my whole life since I was a little kid. They are my team, but I need to just enjoy football because otherwise I feel sick like watching Michigan games and it's not fun. So I like football more than I like Michigan football. That's what I keep telling myself as I'm wearing my hat. But I think that Texas is gonna be rough or really interesting. Let's just say that. I hope it's not too high scoring one way, unless you're a Texas fan. Go for it, but you can wish that. So I guess the moral of this whole episode here. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. I'm feeling a little bit better now. I was feeling real spinny there, and it was like, ooh. This is really annoying, this thing with my inner ear, by the way. It's been going on for over a month, and I've been told it could take like 6 to 8 weeks to go away. And I'll have good days and bad days. It's been getting better, but man, this is awful. I hate it. It feels like I'm on a ship. Rocking and rocking. But you're watching this election unfold. We see things are changing. Trump's not going to get sentenced till after the election, which is good because, Steven Crowder had that thing go out yesterday on his You can watch his show or it's on X, talking about, it was like a DOJ official or something that basically implied that they were going after Trump extra legally, let's just say. No shock there. And of course, almost immediately after, it seems like they're going, oh, we're not going to sentence the guy till after the election. But this election is crazy. And I really think that we're nearing a time where we need to realize what's at stake here. And what's at stake here is we're about to let more inept people run this country. We need to solve this problem. We need to get people in that are worth running the country. I know it's impossible for several reasons. First of all, normal people that are talented and good at things don't want to run for the president or run for the government office, really. You know, there are some decent ones out there. Like I said, I like Thomas Massey. I like Matt Gaetz. I like Jim Jordan. You know, there's decent guys out there. I'm not saying that they're all bad, but, you know, overwhelmingly, I couldn't probably name 90% of the people in Congress or on the Senate, and I think it attracts people that are relatively unremarkable in most other fields they would try or things they would do. So that's part of the problem, because you know, good, talented people are not going to be attracted to that. Second of all, the problem we have is the bloated, bureaucratic, administrative, permanent Washington state thing we got going on. As long as that apparatus is running the show and allowed to make laws, good luck fixing any of this. There are so many laws on the books, it is impossible to keep up with what you can and cannot do if you're in any industry, really, that's so hyper-regulated. Listen, I understand regulations, not all bad in some cases. You know, imagine think about what so I'm a military historian, economic historian, and political historian, but this is kind of a weird aside, because as a military historian, I've studied, my book I'm writing is on it's on Civil War medicine. And so during the first, a couple decades of the United States of America, our medical industry was regulated. And then Andrew Jackson came along. Big government was no longer really acceptable, so we started to unregulate everything, and it turned into a complete crap show. Okay, drugs were unregulated. You could go to the store and buy drugs with crazy things in it. I'm sure it was a lot of fun, but scary. You know, medical licensing there was really no medical licensing in a lot of these states. It was pretty crazy. Now imagine life like that. Okay, but you also have to realize that, you know, the free market too did dictate, like, I only want to go to the good doctor, not the guy that's heroic medicine. I don't want a guy that's giving you like mercury pills and you're barfing your guts out. But yes, like some regulation, maybe not all bad. I don't know what to do about regulation, because as a libertarian, I think libertarians live in like a utopian fantasy world a lot of the times. There has to be some realistic solutions to things. So I don't know how to solve the problem altogether, but we are so hyper-regulated, it's insane. It's impossible to get things done. And we let unelected people that can be in our government for freaking life, regulate things. Think about that. People that can be in office for their entire lives, they're not elected, can legally tell you what to do. That's insane. That's a huge problem. That's a major hindrance to us getting anything changed. Crappy people to vote for, crappy people in office, and a crappy, bloated other branch of government. We should never be electing our senators in a popular election. That was not how this was intended. That's dumb. So there are just so many things that need to change in order for anything to really be positively changed in this country. But I'm trying to be hopeful that it can be, because this is just getting so old. I'm so sick of like, jobs suck, money sucks. Groceries so expensive, gas so expensive, wars constant. You know, it's like it's just hard to feel hopeful sometimes. And so God has a plan, you know. Let's just hope that God has a way. But I recently graduated with my PhD a couple months ago. My wife's a medical student, so what happens is in your third year you rotate. You're on clinical rotations. So with our kids, like I have to be home to take care of the kids, so I need a job to do from home. And finding a job right now is virtually impossible. I'm not even just in my field. Okay, like I know, I would find a remote history job. Yeah, right. I mean, I'm a writer, and so that's gonna be my main source of income and stuff when books and jobs come along. But it's hard to find stuff right now. So I was like, I'll just get a remote job. Pays the bills. That's flexible in my schedule. Yeah, not happening. So it's really kind of discouraging to find anything right now. Like trying to find anything, especially a job that pays me, you know, even remotely what I should be paid, you know. So if you know anybody that's got remote work out there that's willing to be flexible, I can help. You don't have to pay me $1 million. I just need to feed my family. So like it's just discouraging sometimes it's discouraging right now to like just continually see a lot of this like depressing news and this just like the Venezuelan gangs taking over and jobs reports are, you know, being overstated, and actually there's not that many jobs, and Joe Biden's off doing God knows what, and he's coming in to right behind his Playmobil desk. And it's just it's never ending, it feels like. We do have football season, so we got that going for us. All right, well, I'm gonna cut this video. It's a Friday night, so Friday night I'm just kind of thought I would wing it. Sorry if it seemed kind of rambly. I really wanted to just get some of this off my chest with how like I'm just over the depressing government failure crap. I'm sick of looking at it, and I wish that we could come up with a better solution, but we can't. So all right, well, if you could please give me a like, a subscribe, share my channel, tell your friends about it if you would like. If you're interested in my books coming out, I'm writing a book about Civil War medicine, particularly medical education and the Civil War. University of Michigan specifically, how U of M graduate doctors took their education into the Civil War, showing that education was not as worthless as people think it was. And I'm also writing another book about basically the neoconservative takeover of the Republican Party during the Bush administration. So that's my second book. Otherwise, I'm doing lots of writing on Substack, and I do copywriting. If you need anything like that done, obviously I can't do it for free, but if you need me to write anything, contact me. You can send me you can hit me up on X, Join or Die News. The link is in my channel bio, and if you would like want to reach out for me to do any work for you or whatever, just send me a message on there, or send me an email at historyonawhim@gmail.com. I would appreciate anybody willing to reach out. And I would like to thank you for watching this. And once again, share, like, subscribe, comment. Give me some digital love. All right. Bye.